Biden administration says it is holding Iran accountable for recent drone and rocket attacks on American troops stationed abroad. U.S. forces at the Al-Assad Air Base in the Middle East were injured during these attacks. These stark comments against Tehran since Hamas terrorists brutally murdered innocent Israelis. And it also comes as Iran's proxy terrorists are ramping up their attacks on American military forces in the region. Though the U.S. has fortunately thwarted away many of the attacks, there have still, again, been injuries to our forces overseas. Let's discuss the tensions between Washington and Tehran. And to bring in our panel, the man who shot and killed Osama bin Laden, Robert O'Neill, also the author of the book, The Operator, with us today, and also open source intelligence analyst Ryan McBeth. Gentlemen, welcome in. It's great to have you both with us.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So, you know, this administration, Robert, has a little bit of a contradiction, doesn't it? While they're saying Iran's going to be held responsible and there's, you know, American troops overseas being threatened and being shot at between drones from the Houthis and other places. We also know that the missile program was allowed to lapse under the UN. So some say, you know, Iran can get missiles because this administration hasn't stopped them, yet it's actually appeased them.
Well, of course it is. And thank you for having me. Right now, Iran is doing exactly what everyone else in the world is doing, and that's whatever they want, because we have shown how weak we are overseas. Everything from the pull out of Afghanistan that turned into complete chaos to just weakness everywhere. And, you know, everything from having TikTok influencers run social media for the White House when they're leaking photos of Tier 1 operators. They don't know what they're doing. It's everything from the podium to the world stage. And Iran knows they have a chance before the next election, whatever happens there, to do whatever they want along with China and Russia. And they're arming the Houthis, they're arming Hamas and Hezbollah. They're attacking Syria and Iran, Syria and Iraq. And they don't think anything's going to happen. When Donald Trump was in office, he killed Qasem Soleimani, and he told them, there's nothing you can do about it. If you try to retaliate, we're going to bomb your ports and your oil fields. And, you know, Iran ran their mouths, rattled their sabers, and did nothing. Now they're doing everything they want because they're not afraid of us.
Clearly, there's definitely that sense there that the leverage is theirs. I want to play a clip, Ryan, of Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin over the weekend and get your reaction to this.
We're concerned about potential escalation. In fact, what we're seeing is the prospect of a significant escalation of attacks on our troops and our people throughout the region. And because of that, we're going to do what's necessary to make sure that our troops are in the right, good position. They're protected, and that we have the ability to respond.
The ability to respond directly to Iran, yet we also know the administration is telling Israel to have this ceasefire or hold off on a ground invasion, which many say just gives Iran a clue that they can be emboldened. It just seems like such mixed messaging. What's your take?
That might be the case, but there may be a tactical reason why Israel is actually waiting to go into Gaza. They, similar to our shock and awe campaign, they want to attrit forces on the ground before they actually move in. Now, when it comes to actually fighting Iran, if we actually have to attack Iran using air power, that's something that is entirely within our capability. And I definitely believe something Iran does not want to see, because the outcome will not be positive for them.
So if Iran now knows, though, that there are, you know, sanctions that weren't enforced, that they have gotten billions of dollars under Biden and Obama, what leverage does this administration have? You know, what can we do right now, Robert, and should our diplomats be doing to send a stronger message? Otherwise, we're just hearing don't. That's kind of the verbiage.
Well, I mean, even with the billions, they said they just unfroze it was Iran's money in the first place. They need to make sure they let them know they don't get that. They need to make sure that they're not even close to behind any sort of nuclear deal, because for some reason Democrats love to say that, you know, Iran wants a peaceful nuclear thing for energy, which is complete nonsense. The first thing they'll do is exactly what Hamas wants to do, and that's wipe Israel off the map. They need to pretend they can't even decide which way to go. They're trying to play both sides. They're trying to be politically correct, and you can't do that with the mullahs there in Iran. What they need to do is they need to get rid of the mullahs and let the people rise up. But every time they do, it seems like Democrats want to keep it out of the media so it doesn't happen. And it's bad people in charge of bad places, and we're showing no strength overseas whatsoever, and that's what needs to stop.
Agree. So, Ryan, there is a report also from the Jerusalem Post really exposing even more of the, horrific assignment that we know that Hamas was given and enacted on October the 7th, the atrocities. And now one of the terrorists who spoke to Israeli forces says that they got $10,000 and an apartment if they brought back a hostage. So a lot of rewarding there, incentivizing them. I mean, these are who these people are, no doubt. And yet, the media, some on the left, have tried to make Israel seem like it is pulling a humanitarian crisis. How quickly have they forgotten? And how damaging is that? Obviously, this information war that's also being played out here.
It's certainly damaging when you look at what Israel is trying to do. They have to walk this fine line because they're walking on eggshells, where they have special forces going into Gaza secretly trying to find and possibly rescue these hostages or prepare for a ground invasion where they know where these hostages are. That $10,000 payment is actually very eye-opening because it's a good clue as to why Israel did not see that attack coming. These particular militants were told, hey, we're going to give you $10,000 if you capture a hostage. That indicates to me that nobody told each other what was going on. So this operation was planned inside of very specific cells, and there was no communication between those cells. Because if everybody knew what was going on, they'd probably go, wait a minute, if we do this, there's not going to be a Gaza when Israel's done with us. So that's a pretty good intelligence indicator right there.
I have about 10 seconds. Robert, yeah, intelligence failure also on the U.S.'s part.
Yeah, Ryan's spot on, too. It was very well planned. That has the handprints of Iran all over its compartmentalists.
Gentlemen, appreciate your time today. Great conversation. Come back real soon. Ryan, McBeth, Robert O'Neill. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, Bianca.
Thanks, Bianca.